Episode 532. Excuse me. Episode 532. It's 7 years of sturdy. Holy shit.
Wow.
And every
Congratulations.
I appreciate it. You know what's funny though is every year I'll say when I realize it's coming up around when I'm really paying attention to it, like, oh shit, I should do something for it, like December, the month before, which is always super late. I'm always saying to myself, and I said it to Mick, I'm probably going to try to plan something. I didn't do shit. I didn't plan nothing at all. It's just one of them things because you know what it is? Like, I always want to plan something or have something fun done. But there's so much work into doing that, into planning that I just always I'm like, usually I'll just wing it and just have like a regular whatever, just shooting the shit, talk random horror, have a fun episode. I'm like, you know what? We're going to do some reviews this time. And so 2026, I'm planning something. I'm planning something is what I'm saying right now. And the first day of 2025, as I'm planning, doing something. But I do want to
That
say,
is your New Year's resolution.
there you go. That's one of them.
It's very attainable too. So
It's super obtainable. It's super easy. Like I don't even have to do anything super crazy or super sophisticated or anything really. And it's all virtual. But we'll see what happens in a year from now.
So I just want to apologize for looking like trash today. I'm in what I wore to bed. And here's the problem. I forgot we were going on tonight. So I forgot to watch the movie. So Sturdy, when you said, and when I asked you, I was like, wait, are we live tonight? Because I'm like, wait, isn't tonight the first? Oh my God. And when you said that, I was like, I need to watch this movie. So I haven't had a chance. Like I rolled out of this movie and into here. I haven't even had a
process in
chance to go
between.
change.
Yeah.
And so much like there's a dam that's about to break because you made me watch this movie. So we need to get through this episode.
Oh, we will. We will. And I do, before we dive into the movie and all that, I do want to say, yes, I picked the movie technically. Well, technically my wife did because she wanted to watch it. And I was like, oh, she's like, oh, a new zombie movie. I'm going to watch this. So she put it on her list on Netflix. I was like, shit. I was like, I should check. I was like, I want to check that out. I was like, I was like, you know, it's funny. It's like, we're doing zombies in January. She's like, well, I'll just wait if you want. And then, just do it on the podcast. So boom.
Nice.
But it's not what I was expecting. And I will say this, James, you could definitely attest to this for kicking off the year with me a few times. When we actually did like a movie review or our first movie of the year. We've had some rough fucking starts. And I don't mean like with a sad movie or nothing. I mean like with just some shit like, what the fuck is...
Yeah, you're like, why do we pick this?
Yeah, type of deal. But I love those starts. And I'm telling you guys right now, I can't wait to get on that shitty movie run because I know it's going to be a good time and a good rant. And it's something I love about my show. It really is. Like from the first year up until this year and now, I'm going to continue to watch those type of movies. I'm just letting everybody know that now. I'm going to continue to watch those shitty movies, those movies that you fucking accidentally grab in the Walmart bin, those movies that people just give to you because they want you. It's kind of, I'm kind of like an exorcist, but for movies. You know what I mean? People just, want me to exorcise that demon out their house. Hey, take this out of here. Okay, I'll do that for you because I'm a good man. But
you won't do a seance with me.
No, that's craziness.
I'll do it. As long as you make sure you close it just in case it's real.
There you go.
I don't want shit to go home with me.
Exactly. But I say that though because I do feel that the movies that I hate just as much as the movies I love are very important for us to check out. If you watch them or not, they're very important in that whole atmosphere of film. Just because somebody did it, somebody made it, they took the time and the effort. Even Blood Lake, and everybody knows how I feel about that movie. But it's still a cool thing that people actually did whatever movie they did. I'll give people credit for that all the time. They did that, and we're gonna watch a lot of those, and we're gonna review a lot of those. And I hope to find some more gems. I hope to find more movies like the ones that I have fun with, like a Thanksgiving. Like
Greasy Strangler.
Yes, Greasy Strangler. Helen Keller versus the Night Wolves.
Trash humpers.
There you go.
Yep.
Street Trash. Just those type of movies, because again, it's easy for us to pull out the Halloweens, or Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and so on and so forth. It's easy to pull those movies out and make a discussion of them, because everybody knows them, everybody loves them, and you can throw in more of those popular movies. You can throw in the Screams and this, that, and the thirds, but you know what I'm getting at. But it's so much more fun, in my opinion, when you talk about those other films, like I just mentioned, like maybe not necessarily those exact films, but just those B films that just it really just starts some cool friendships. Like I have a really good friend off of a discussion of Thanksgiving. My guy Matt. We met at a con. What's funny about him is me and him and my brother Henry have a picture together with Matt. He has like one of those baby carriers with a gremlin in it. He would carry a gremlin.
Oh,
cool. So we did this for like a year or two straight, right? And you know how us guys are. We see something cool. Another guy, yo, man, that's cool. Can I take a picture? Yeah, cool. Don't shake hands. Don't ask for nothing. Just walk away. You could this could be like a 3 or 4 or 5 year thing. I was explaining this to my wife. I was like, we can watch sports together, not know each other's name. You know each other's team. You know each other's car. That's it. But so he was up in Albany one year when Robert England was here. And I was in line. I was helping a friend, so I was in line waiting with my wife. And just happened to talk about that, and then one of us mentioned Thanksgiving, and it was just like love at first sight. I don't know what it was, but it's just it's such like a cool thing to have those discussions with those type of films. And I'm bringing that up because I was introduced to those type of films because of this podcast. Because again, just reviewing movies and trying to find stuff I've never seen before. And then going down the rabbit hole of B horror films and more indie films, and learning a whole, like I learned a whole lot about movies in general just from watching horror movies. And then just from this past 7 years of this show, just from tons and tons of guests, ones that I'm cool with, ones that I'm not cool with. I respect and appreciate every single one of you, because in a way you did something, and I appreciate that. I think it was awesome. But but no, like, where the fuck was I going with this? Listen, the important thing is, listen. Basically, what I'm getting at with this 7 year journey is
happy 2025.
Yes, happy 2025. Happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be another fun ride. This is gonna be another fun ass fucking year of some kick ass shows, some terrible movies, some amazing movies, and some fun fucking conversations. And we're kicking it off tonight with Outside, a 2024 Filipino horror film, zombie film. That is not your typical zombie film. That is like it's like coded as a zombie. It's the zombies is actually more of a not a backstory, more of a what would you say, Mick? Not backstory, but it's not like
it's not even it's just atmosphere, really.
It's kind of like Walking Dead. It's like the first season of Walking Dead.
I would say less.
So the dead are interesting in this because, number one, it does, as Mick said, it lends to the atmosphere, which is the horror that truly this film is about, is going on inside the family unit. So there, right away. But these are really interesting zombies in a couple ways. And I'm not going to make it sound like this is the first film to do it, because if you go back to the Return of the Living Dead series, you had your dead remain conscious, and they were suffering too. But for some reason, and we don't know why, the closest thing to an explanation is there's something about water. That's it. So we have no idea what really happened. But the really interesting thing is what you say or do right before you turn becomes a cycle, and that becomes you. And then it starts building that there are some of these zombies that might be ones that have gotten to a point in which they will expire themselves, that you genuinely see what you think for the movie is just automatic repetition, is repetition that leads to a zombie putting his head down. Do it. And that level of that's a really frightening thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's and you know, it also kind of takes like one of the ones that was really freaky was at the beginning of the film when the our main characters go to his parents' house. When he sees his mother, she screams, "Sorry, sorry, sorry." Now, most likely that is connected to something she was saying to his abusive father. But it also, if you follow most of them, even though it's just repetition, it has some deeper meaning within the context of the scenes. And that's just one little element that I will say this is my favorite zombie film I've seen this year.
That's fair to say, and I like what you did there, sir. I like what you did there, sir.
Very nice. Well, actually, that doesn't really count because let's face facts. Trevor could have watched at least 3 or 4 zombie films today.
That's
We
fair.
don't know, but he is capable of it.
True.
You're Mick, you're undercutting Trevor with 3 or 4. With
Well, I
3
mean,
or,
come on. It's New Year's. We woke up with, you know,
that's
we're
true.
chilling.
That's true.
So
If he watched 3 or 4, he researched like 17 other ones as he's watching these, because he's that's what he does. He's
Well, I
our
got a
guy.
wonderful chance to watch it with my partner Hannah, and that was really nice and also kind of unsettling because we were able to have a lot of great conversation afterwards.
Nice.
But yeah, this is a phenomenal film. Now, you know, this is in no way, you know, I would not call this film entertaining, but I would call it important.
Ooh.
that's a really great distinction. Great distinction of what sets this movie apart. It's and to kind of piggyback off of that, this is a horror movie, but definitely not the horror movie you think you're getting. I don't have a lot to say on this because I had just finished it rolling in, and I'm still processing. This movie made me feel things. This movie made me see things, you know, like flashbacks and stuff. Like it's filmed eloquently and lands. Its cinematography, it's at the atmosphere it builds, the costuming, just everything, the lighting, all of it just adds such a phenomenal feel to what this movie is actually about, which is not the zombies. So going in, and I that's how I have to say it to anybody, because like going into this, just be aware, like you're gonna go through some trauma.
Oh, a lot. There's a lot of there's
at least 3 generations of trauma.
Yeah.
All smacked together in a
Oof.
immensely disturbing and gut-wrenching shit sandwich that is this to me was a film about the cycle of abuse and how that, you know, what is more frightening is, you know, you're running away from zombies, or you're running away from zombies and running away from so many other things that have led you to do horrible things to your children and your partner, and you find yourself in a time in which you should be thinking about your family. We end up putting the we in the idea of anybody who has been in a situation of that kind of mental, physical, whatever abuse. He becomes what he doesn't want to probably ever be. And even at the end, which we won't go too much in the end right now, but the end is ambiguous in this beautiful way that what you think in certain ways is like the ending. I left that ending going, oh shit, because so and so said this to so and so, and all we see are the headlights. Is that an implication that that child's trauma is bad enough that he could end up taking the place of the father? And that freaked me out.
Mm.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, that's the whole thing that started. So I guess the father has trauma. He's run away from his father, basically.
Yeah.
Because he was abused. But then it seemed like there was a part saying he owed lots of money. So I don't know if he was into gambling or something like that. And during that, he was arguing with his wife, and they were having problems. So she slept with the brother.
Yeah, and and the son, the oldest son, is
the brother, Diego. Is it
Yeah.
Diego? I think it's Diego.
Diego is the brother.
Yeah. So now he hates his brother because of that situation. He wouldn't let him come to the house and help because he knows the wife wants him. And they want each other type situation. Then so here's the thing. My wife my wife was watching it with me. She came in like half hour into it, 40 minutes. The part where he gets bit by the dog. She goes, because he started acting like his father. She's like,
more aggressive.
Does he have rabies? Maybe he's going crazy because he has rabies.
That's the beauty of this film.
His wife
so many options.
His wife
so many ways. Yeah, it's so up to the audience to interpret in this film. And I think it does it to a point of downright bravery that, it allows elements like, okay, so you look at the main character, the father, what was going on in his past. So little is said, and what shows up is such quick, subliminal, aggressive, over the top. You are allowed to create the horror that was his childhood. That is not given to you. And I feel there's a lot of elements of this film that are not given to you. And that's important. Now, there is a scene in which it goes from being an extraordinarily good film to being one of the best character studies I've seen in many, many years. And that involves a dinner. And it's a dinner in which the father he's starting to turn into his father. He's just gone all over. But the scene involves him spewing potential lies or making the other person in the marriage answer questions in front of their children to turn their children against them and give them the control that should never be in a relationship. That scene freaked me the fuck out because it was way too close to reality.
A lot of this was.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the thing about, like, when I'm talking about the zombies, I'm like, this is a movie that was horrifying and just had zombies. Yeah. that's my feelings on it. Like,
you take the zombies out, it is still I'm sure it's still as intense.
Yeah.
Maybe even more intense because the zombies are kind of a distraction, would you say?
Well, the only thing I'll say is adding the mother and him having to kill the mother.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where it lands the hardest because he had to be violent against his mother now.
Yeah.
And that scene was crazy anyways, where she was on the wall and she just split in half. Start crawling at him. I'm like, God.
But I think that added to his descent.
Yeah. Yeah. He just dropped because he had to kill his mother even though she was dead already. But that's still trauma. Sees his dad in bed, takes the watch, wears it, so he's becoming his dad. Let me start with the watch.
Yeah, I was like, he's real. Like when he took the watch, I'm like, that's just why.
I would personally, I would say he took that probably because it was a cherished gift, probably a cherished gift that was constantly shown to him that his brother was going to get when I die. So he probably took it. And also, yet again, in that scene, that weird thing is your brain is trying to figure out as the mother, sorry. It's okay. So was the last thing that she said to her husband, sorry, because that's what she said all the fucking time? Or is that genuinely her saying I'm sorry? And does it make a difference because it's coming from your dead mother? What are you gonna think? You know, this film is so awesome on so many levels.
That's a good one.
Yeah, like she's saying sorry to him, letting him do that to him. Let the father do that
letting
to
him
him.
abuse him, letting it happen.
What he probably
But
wanted
it
to
could be
hear
either
all his
way.
life is coming out of his dead mother's mouth.
Taking it back to like the, you know, what I took from it with her coming at him saying sorry, and then him having to be violent against her. Again, like adding that level of like that's what he heard her say to his father before he heard. You know,
That's true.
and now he has to become his father in this. Yeah, it's a so many layers.
Well, I like the flashes of his father too when he's in that room. He keeps seeing him on top of the stairs.
Yeah, that was
yelling at him.
That was actually a
like,
pretty
dang.
cool, intense scene right there.
Well, actually, before we get off to add to you, Mick, something that I thought this film did beautifully that I've seen very rarely. Honestly, I can't think of another film that really takes on multiple generational trauma and looks at it from a very truthful and uncomfortable manner that those people who have lived through trauma could at some point only understand based on how they were taught. Something that not a lot of people want to talk about, but which is a huge thing that needs to be fixed. The cycles need to break. And this is a film about that. It's a very uncomfortable family subject.
And to add to it too, also the trauma, not just the generational trauma we're getting, but the trauma of like finding out a wife cheated on you and one of your sons isn't your, like that is a whole different type of marital trauma. And then you have
like a whole bunch of
you have the sibling trauma. You know, yes, there was always a wedge driven between them, but also like that's my wife, and like you're the father of my son. Like that is a trauma. That's on top of that, like. Yeah.
One of the important things to point out is the father and the mother are not innocent. They don't have issues in their history. Now, does that make anything right? No, but and that's, you know, yet again, something that happens is people find themselves in situations that unfortunately they want to get away from, but somehow it becomes a cycle. And you know,
she was going to leave her kids to be with Diego.
She wasn't. No, what Diego did,
I thought
Diego created that
I thought
concept.
that's what she said at the dinner table.
What?
Oh, I thought that's what she said at the table, because he said to her, like, he's like, you know, she was going to leave us.
Yes, but let me explain it. So, as somebody who would want to take control of a situation, let's throw something out that is a partial truth. And let's do it in front of our children. And let's do it in a way that you force that person to answer. And you do it in a way of intimidation to the point that it builds and builds. You're allowed to do one of two things in your mind. That's kind of a fight or flight. Either you go like this, or she does what she did, which is, I want to leave you. It has nothing to do with the kids. And that was the scene.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Because trust me, people that are watching this either themselves can relate to that, or they've seen family members deal with that, or at least can remember some element of their childhood. You know, this is, if you're looking for a fun zombie movie, this is definitely not it.
Oh no, there's nothing fun about this movie at all. It's a good movie. It's a really good movie, but it's not a fun movie. Like it's not a fun.
I would say if you really like Train to Busan, which is a hard movie, but it's a hard movie because of like the end. Let's be real. Like the rest of the movie is like a good zombie film, you know, and the end just hits you in the gut. This is like the end of Train to Busan for like 2 hours and 20 minutes. Just that's it. It's like gut
it also
punch.
reminded me a great deal of I Saw the Devil, in the fact that it left you with such amazing feelings. Very different films, but I felt a similar way when I walked away.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so disturbing and so. When a movie makes you keep trying to figure out what's going on, not in that wow, wish there was a sequel way, but it keeps your mind going that you want to try to figure out what's going to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
That is that. Of course, I saw the devil outside. Both beautiful examples of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I definitely agree, but I don't want to think about what's going to happen with this movie ever again.
Oh no! I mean, as
I'm
soon as it
abandoning
hit my
all
head
of
of it's a cycle thing, I was like, oh god.
It's
Even I'm probably not as bad as you, Mick, but I like the abusive father situation with the mother. That gave me flashbacks. But I was never like put in a room. I was never abused like that.
I was never.
It was my
I mean, like,
parents
listen,
that argued.
like I was never locked in a basement or anything. Like, I don't want to say that.
No, I'm just saying, but it's how you're taking it is like you had a lot of trauma. I'm saying I'm not. I delete. So I got this weird. I need a therapist. Let's just get real. I had this weird thing where I forget. I made myself forget all the negative shit unless someone brings it up and reminds
Yeah,
me.
that's unhealthy.
My brain shuts it
Very
off.
common.
Yeah, I mean that's a defense.
So I don't
mechanism.
remember most of my childhood. That's what I'm getting at. Most of my childhood is delete.
Yeah, you have
Well,
to
not
learn
delete,
good
it's
coping
hidden.
skills. Honestly, like that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And therapy will help you, dude. I've been doing it for years. Like it's
Yeah.
You
amazing.
don't want to be
know.
at a
I
rush
just-
to get anywhere.
No, just take your time.
Yeah.
Just do it. Yeah, it's not like
Take
you're gonna.
your
Yeah, you
time.
don't graduate therapy and you get out of it and you're like,
Yeah.
like it just helps you.
Yeah.
Day to day deal with this stuff and learn coping skills to deal with your past traumas. I'll be honest with you. I did an IOP and I suggest it for everybody. I think going through who's been through trauma. I mean, it's I think that will help a lot of people. And that's what's there for, to teach us stuff. So need more of that in the world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah.
It's true.
Check on your mentals, people. It's super, super important.
So what do you think about it, Aaron?
I really enjoyed it. Again, I was like going into it. I'm like, okay, it's Filipino. When I see it, I'm like, for me, I'm like, okay, cool, foreign horror, foreign zombie movie. This shit's gonna be wild, and it was wild, but not in the way that I was expecting and hoping for.
Yeah. No.
But
Not like the sadness shit.
Very sad.
Yeah.
but it was. I would no, not. I wouldn't even. I wasn't even expecting it to be like the sadness, James, but more just some crazy wild, some cool stuff.
Ingmar
But-
Bergman makes a zombie film.
Oh my god, yeah.
Sorry,
But-
Aaron.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's so true. It's like such true. It's like such Danish nihilism, this movie
Yes.
in the Philippines.
Zombies by Carl Theo Dreyer.
But I could see the horror in it with the aspect of the zombies, and I mean as far as like the isolation and being trapped, because it's just I can't imagine being in a household like that. Like I've seen things here and there, but not to that extent for myself. But as far as like being that abusive household to where the father's not only abusing the mother but also the kids, and it's like. You can't just like in other situations, like in situations where people can't just get up and go, or it's hard for they get up and go. Like this situation, it's even harder to get up and go because it's like if I go out, there's fucking zombies out there. Like it's literally
Exactly.
It's
They're
literally
trapped two
you're
ways.
literally
Yeah.
trapped. You're literally safer. As crazy as this sounds, in this situation, it seems like you're literally safer with the abuser, just because. They're never going to kill you. They may beat the hell out of you. And again, I'm not saying this in real life, people, but in this movie, the way it's making it look, the way it's making it seem is what I mean by this. I'm not saying that's how it is.
That's desperately what what's his name? With Francis, right? That's his.
Yes.
I'm trying to
Yes.
again. I'm coming like right out of it into the review. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
it's Francis.
remember.
And Iris is the mother.
Yes, Francis and Iris,
everything
and
he
then
exudes
Joseph,
in this,
and I forgot the other brother's name.
all of the way that he acts is, and James,
Jacob.
listen up.
Yeah.
Is if you don't learn those coping skills and how to deal and how to open up and be on and like even with yourself, and deal with this. This is what happened. Like it's just becomes this immense traumatic feeling that you just, and he's desperately trying to hold everything together, you know, and you can't, like, you can't. The best thing for them in that instance is to get away from him. He needs to be away from them. He can't. Those are the abusing is what's going to keep him from coping and getting away from it and learning. So that's, and the only way to break the cycle is to make a promise to yourself to break the cycle. That's why I've
and
never hit
the
my
fact
kids.
that it's a cycle, and it's very hard.
I don't raise a hand to them. In fact, if I raise my voice, they laugh at me. Yeah.
You mentioned about, why they, why he, makes the decisions he does or forces them to do whatever. I mean, of course, this is an extreme version here because the zombies are taken into effect, but fucker gaslights his family with zombies. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
In the most traditional way. Yeah.
He brought a
That
head
manipulation
back
is such a, that's such an abusive trait that, to keep them like, like, and I mean, this is so familiar to even COVID for so many people, and like what information is real, and like, gaslighting themselves in certain instances and keeping themselves in, and let alone family if you're doing it to them,
Yeah, the situation was so bad that there was times she wanted to deal with the zombies.
Wow.
She was like, I'd rather be out with the zombies than here. And that's crazy.
It is, but I guess with the zombies is it's like you go out there, it's eventually gonna stop because you'll be gone. But with this, it's like
but those zombies run, man. If it was a regular Walking Dead zombie, I'd be like, I'd rather deal with the zombie too. I'm leaving. You can just walk up to him and hit him in the head and keep going unless there's a horde.
And that's what I love about this.
Run at you.
I mean, they're not like 28-day layered zombies. I mean, they kind of have a burst of energy and then kind of just.
Yeah. Even alluding to them like dying out and that this is ending or coming to sort of an end. Or there's a foreseeable end, it seems. They allude to that. I'm not saying it's true, but like if you play to that, I think that adds to the idea of like, this is not a zombie movie. It's a horror movie about generational trauma and familial trauma. That's 100% what this is. Everything. It's not even like subtle. That's what they're showing you. I think they do it in such an excellent way, and adding the zombie element, even if you only add the zombie element to drive home the killing the mother and having to become the abuser, also the gaslighting the family, and that just all those manipulations thrown in. This movie at its core is showing everybody what happens if mental health goes unchecked.
And one thing it does well too, and you mentioned a little bit there, Mick, is the film, even though it's so subtle and it seems so little, there is this little bit of element of optimism. And the thing is, that little tiny bit of optimism is sometimes the only thing people like survive on, because they feel they don't deserve anything more than that. And that was put in an extreme situation in this film. But understand that little tiny bit of optimism is a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
What's crazy is oh, go ahead, Aaron.
No, go ahead, James.
Oh, I was just going to mention like one of the parts where like they want to get out so bad that the son was like, I'm leaving. And he looked like, what, 14? Something like that. And she was like, just give him a hug and just letting him go. Out in the zombie world.
That's indicative of, again, trauma and knowing that her son lives with this abuser and it's not even his son.
Yeah.
He's setting him free. That's what I was saying when I'm like, I'm not saying it's the perfect situation to go out in the world. It's a perfect representation of the world. There's dangers out there. We don't know what's going to happen, but you're safer than you are here because you're either going to die from it or you're going to become it.
Mom, do the best thing for me. Let me go. And that is the hardest thing, but also the best thing in some times. Because you have to think at the fact, it's never really said exactly what happens, is that Iris could and probably will still be under some sort of oppression all of her life. Another beautiful thing the film did, and really drove home the relationship between the boys and their mother, which a lot of this movie is Francis's attempts to make them feel their mother has like their interest is none. So when Lucas ends up being like, "Hey mom, remember that book you read with me? Let's do it." That was a stroke of genius. Where Lucas literally goes, "Hey mom, I'll tell a lie for you because you made me understand sometimes it's the right thing to do." Yeah, this is great fucking writing, guys.
Yeah, it is.
They did an amazing job.
It is. And what I was gonna say is one thing I really liked about this movie, like with the whole, is how well this whole family showed emotion for a lot of the stuff that was going on. As far as like the actors, the actors showing the emotion on their faces with their body language and everything. That's hard to do, and to me, that can make or break a scene, or even make or break a whole film, especially something like that's like this, where it wants you to feel something. It wants you to, kind of feel bad for the kids most of all in this whole house. Feel bad for the mother for the abuse she's going through. Feel bad for the guy for the abuse that he went through, but also for his wife lying and cheating and having a child on him and making him think it's his child up to this point. And then boom, and which I did like about this scene too, because it was very realistic of like how, I'm not saying what he did was right, but what he did was, it's very realistic. How after he found out, how he started treating the kid, like not too long after, just like super just aggressive, and it's just hurt and pain, and it's not right. But I do like the fact that it did that because it's showing these realistic emotions to situations that happen like this.
Yeah.
To
Where he
these
was favoring
realistic
the younger child because it's his.
Yeah, exactly. Like once he,
I don't think it's a
finds it out.
favoring. It's, if I could interject on that, it doesn't.
I wouldn't say-
And I'm not. I've personally. I mean, I have a stepson whom I love like he's my own, and he's an amazing kid. Very fortunate, but I've also seen the other end of it. Like from I know
what you mean.
At this situation, actually, you know what I mean. Like, so having seen that, like that type of anger you see isn't so much about being more protective of what's yours. He's not even mad at that child in the moment. When he looks at that child, all he sees is everything he just discovered. And that's where it is. It's not even a rage. It's just trauma. It's just now new added trauma. And that's got to be directed somewhere if you're not coping with it. And it's at him because he can't help but see them now.
Yo, just think about that though. Like for him, I'm just going just for him really quick. Like, so he hears that, and then his first thought is, okay, so my first child is not my first child. My first child is actually my brother's first child with my wife. And I'm finding this all out as we're going through things, of course, the whole everything else. And there's a zombie apocalypse going on. Like shit. There's no fixing that relationship.
No, Nick, I gotta go back to you because you just made a connection that I didn't really think of too much. Is in its own way, this is very much an allegory for the COVID situation. Because COVID, one of the nicknames is COVID. Spend 2 weeks with your spouse and hate them. I mean, so that isolation, you can't not. Of course, isolation, and we've just come from a pandemic is a thing, but how that pandemic changed so many people's lives based on their families. Yeah, to be able to make that allegory and, it's really good. And, something about a film is as you think about it more and more, you start pulling more meaning, or you start going, I want to rewatch that because I want to see, again. But what's really exciting for me, and I didn't do any research really on this one, is I'm really curious what this director has done and what this director is going to do.
Yeah, that's very
Mhm.
fair. I will say to also with that is like it does. I think it does cover the atmosphere and the relationship base during COVID, but this also has a very good deal of like you can take away from knowing that abusers always tighten their grip, and that's really at the heart of this. Like, as what this comes down to is the abuser is trying to tighten his grip on this family, and it's just, man, it's hard. It's a hard one.
And
Yeah,
it takes you through the actual journey of that grip getting stronger, but the previous grip getting stronger. And yeah.
He went so far where a soldier sitting there, he just kills him for no reason. Just hits him in the head with a hammer. I'm like, because
he's a living document that proves him wrong.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, I was like, oh my God, man.
Yeah. He's got to kill that fucker. If he wants to keep his story straight, he's gone.
Oh, crazy.
He's tightening his grip, like down to that bit, it's a man.
I liked how they showed their levels. Like it started off like minor gaslighting abuse. Then it started like, let's lock you in, making up a story, boarding up the doors, chains. Then the final straw is throw you in the basement, like where he was, where his father threw him in, and go there, kill the dog, and eat, and trying to make them eat the dog. They didn't trust, like, what the hell, don't eat that. Where'd you get meat from? And shit like that. It's like, in her head, it could have been the soldier. She didn't know it was the dog.
That's the thing. What was the last straw even was Lucas. Lucas was the violence against the child. Like, okay, I can't, she can't be had by anybody, at this point, like either of them. Diego's now back, and Lucas is the one. The child is the one that gets the brunt of all of this violence and this abuse. And he is, and then also playing out, and then you have other children who are going to have to pick up the mantle and take over if you're not there. And who are they going to be? And like, it just ended on such a, God damn it, man.
Speaking of the ending,
that's how I had to start off 2025.
Speaking of the ending, it was crazy.
I feel like we should get some like telephone numbers and stuff at the end of this. That was the kind of movie it was,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just crazy how they had Diego be the one that comes back and almost gets the mother, but bites the son. That's not his. I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like, you had him come back as the zombie to be the one that is attacking him?
No.
At the end, I was like, wow.
It's the perfect example. The son that got it the hardest is going to probably either walk away from it and be lucky to father. Yeah. Well, you got one of two. In this, they show you the worst case of it. He's going to, probably become an abusive force as well, or you can get away from it. I'd like to think I'm living proof of that. To the point where you're not abusive. You don't pay it. You don't pay it forward in any way because it's not worth it. This handles it in such a way where it shines a light that, when you get to it, it had to be. He was the hardest on him. Joshua got it the hardest. And he was the one, because of that, he was most likely, like Francis instead of Diego, the one that's going to become the abusive one. And that's why he had to be the one at the end. And Lucas was one who was bit. They had to drive the point home. It always, the youngest always get the brunt of the violence and or the kids.
Yeah.
But Joshua coming back and keeping that cycle going, maybe, of course it is open. And
we don't know, because it did end up. I was like, what's going on? Okay. I was like, they're not telling you if the kids survive. I thought he was going to die in her arms and turn, but they made it seem like you only can turn if you get bit, not just by dying. Am I right?
Did we give ratings for this?
Not yet, but we will.
We didn't get ratings yet. No,
we will,
because I haven't thought of mine yet. So I'm like,
oh no, I'd say let's start thinking of them.
I gotta put it together.
Oh, I have mine already.
Great conversation. Keep the convo going, gentlemen. Keep the convo going. I'm loving this.
But then she had to chop his arm off.
Yes.
That is, oh man.
That was
She's like, here, bite down on this and look that way. And it wasn't one chop. She had to hit that multiple times. I'm like, oh no.
And the fact that she had to do that, which also sort of like parallels him having to kill his father or his mother, I mean, as the zombie, but to save her son, she had to put violence on him.
Where the father is sitting there against the wall, just staring, like.
She has to live with
and he
that
snaps
guilt
out of it. He's
all
like,
her
oh,
life,
fuck, you do need
even
help,
though
so
she
let
has
me
to
go
do
get the
what I
van.
done.
Festival of the Living Dead.
Which one's this?
Festival of the Living Dead.
I never heard of this.
I've never heard of it.
Who added this one?
This guy right here.
Aaron. Sturdy Bird.
Sturdy Bird. I have some. I'm not gonna say high hopes, but I'll say this: it's not gonna be terrible. That's my thing.
It's a zombie movie. I don't think it's going to be a masterpiece type situation like this one.
No, it's not going to have like a deep story like this. Absolutely not. But I don't think it's going to be terrible.
It might be a regular zombie movie. I don't know. When I say regular, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
the original, like, typical.
I think it'll be maybe what I was expecting from this, as far as not as extreme, because this is a foreign one. But you know what I mean? What you're saying, typical fun zombie.
Speaking of picking the movies, I was going to be an asshole and put Warm Bodies. It's a zombie that falls in love with the human, right?
I want to see that movie.
Like I just can't remember the exact thing. I think if he gets to a new, like, a heart, he could turn human again or some shit. That's what the theory was, like, they're thinking. But they were like in love. It was weird. It was a weird movie. I was like, no, I won't do this to Aaron. I was like, I'm going to pick something that I never seen.
Listen. We would have threw it on there and reviewed it.
No, I know we would have threw it on there. I know.
You know how we roll with this, man. I'm not gonna, which there's some fun themes coming up this year. I know in March for Women's Month we are doing a versus. We are doing because I forgot February. No, I didn't. February's found footage. February's found footage horror films. So, gentlemen, each pick a horror of your favorite found footage horror film.
Oh, I got a list already.
As long as we didn't review it, just everybody give their picks.
I got a list from
grab your picks.
TikTok guy. He said found footage movies you need to watch, and I wrote them down.
Nice. That's one of my favorite subgenres of horror. But in March for women's horror, this is going to be a 2-month thing. We're doing Underworld versus Resident Evil. So I've never seen the Resident Evil films.
It's
all the first of both.
I've been like kind of wanting to watch them, but also like just from hearing I'll just speak from my brother Henry about how, because he's someone who's played all the games and is like a diehard Resident Evil fan as far as the games go, and then watched the movies and told me how the movies were. So I'm just like, do I want to watch them? But now I'm like, I'll watch them with these. It'll be more entertaining. It'll be fun.
They get kind of ridiculous on, keep going. Like the last one I seen was when she started getting psychic powers. I was like,
I
the
haven't
fuck
seen
is
any
going
of
on?
Wow. But I gotta say this too, though. There is which we are gonna be touching on the Resident Evil ones, but after Resident Evil versus Underworld is done, we are hitting animated horror, because that's something that needs a bigger shine that I have not touched on, and I don't see it.
I got to do some research. I got to do some research and find something then, because
same. But I know there's stuff out there.
There's stuff out there. It's just it's not like finding a regular, like a slasher movie. It's like you got to do a little research.
It depends how you define horror. Like, one that I could throw out there is Watership Down. Do you define that as horror?
I never seen it.
Just define it as dystopian. Is it a dystopian horror film done through animals, like Orwell's Animal Farm? Kinda. It's a horror movie, but it's animated. So
okay, interesting. Yeah, I've never seen it, but it's just, I just thought of just something. I'm just like, okay, so I can knock out the Underworld and Resident Evil movies. I've seen Underworld before. I know I haven't talked about them, so I can go through those again, watch them, and same with Resident Evil.
Yeah, I've seen all those.
But with animated, I'm like, it's just more things I want to talk about. That's what I'm basing these themes around, basically, people.
Well, you know how I feel about researching concepts, so
I know.
that one. So
that's another thing I love about Trevor is he's the only person that I know that I've had a conversation with about that enjoys doing the actual research part. Me, I just like the results. As
I'm
far
too
as doing
lazy.
the research, I'm just like, come on, man, this is
I'm way
bullshit.
too lazy.
I'll do it. I don't mind doing it, but I don't enjoy doing it. But
like I did it for
that.
like 2 weeks. I like wrote down the director of the movie that we're talking about and everything. Then after that, I was like, I forget. Then I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm too lazy to write down names and shit.
It's. I'm just talking like no. Trevor takes a deeper dive than that. Trevor ends up figuring it out. Like, listen. So this person was born on January 14th, 1977, on a Monday. It was raining. Like I love his research.
I know.
I love and appreciate his research. And I'm
the
gonna tell you
director
guys
did
right
these
now,
5 movies. He did a short when he was in college. I'm like, God damn.
Yep. and like yeah, we're cracking jokes and stuff, but it's all out of like a love and appreciation because it's so awesome how much research this man does for one. Well, I mean, we're talking multiple films, but just like we're talking about one film, he'll watch it 7,000 times, do whatever he does for his magic research. I don't know what he does, but he does some Trevor stuff.
It's magic research. Do you not go on Google?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm more ashamed of you, Sturdy.
I want to thank you for acknowledging that, and I say that because of the film that we watched tonight. And in some cases, we are in relationships of people who are supposed to love us that attempt over long periods of time to convince us that we are nothing. This film showed that kind of abusive situation that would make a person like me think and scared to actually share my knowledge. So, yeah.
Oh, we love that you share your
Major
knowledge
fucking
on
film.
here.
Yeah.
Fucking love that you share that shit on here. It's awesome. And if you have a problem with his information, that's too bad. Fuck you then. But Trevor's dope. You got everybody needs a Trevor on their team because that's a great wild card to have. His movie knowledge is insane. Just imagine. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it.
Why?
His movie knowledge is insane.
It's the knowledge and the memory.
You are absolutely right. I'm just saying you go on Google and get the information too, Sturdy.
I know
you
that.
Put the research in.
No. But it's more so like even with like the cultural stuff and how he pronounces the names.
Oh no, yeah. Listen, Trevor's on everything. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying you could look it up.
Yeah. Nick, I'll pick you up next week. Relax. It's okay.
No, I don't. That's not what I'm saying. I don't care about that.
Trevor,
I'm saying you gotta.
No, but then there's another style of just knows knowledge. Like Nick, he got good memory.
What I said was. No. What I was saying was, I enjoyed.
I can introduce you to about 25 people that I bow at their feet at how much knowledge and how concise they can be. And I've been lucky enough over the years to befriend some of these people.
Well, I'm gonna set the record straight real quick. I'm sorry, Sturdy, shut up. No, that's not what's happening. Like what I'm talking about is, and I'm glad you brought that up, Trevor, because in college it was always the same shit. In film school, on film sets, it was always the same shit. Oh, I've done this. Oh, I knew this. It's like we are film geeks or cinephiles.
Exactly.
What I'm saying is, Google's out there. Sturdy, take the deep dives, enjoy it. Go hard into these movies, and it will lead you to salvation because you got Google. It's there. You can find.
Don't get me wrong.
They don't have Trevor on and say it too.
There's a weirder thing and a weirder thing and a weirder.
Yeah, you're gonna go on.
What I was getting at was I love how Trevor enjoys doing the research.
Yeah,
I just enjoy the results. He enjoys like the research and the deep. He enjoys doing that part of it.
I think in my mind, I'm trying to get you to jump on that train too because it's so much fun.
I want to, but my problem that's holding me back is it's too much reading.
Well, we live in a
I
time,
hate
you know,
reading.
okay, so I have reading difficulties, and that's created issue over time. But I've always been a person who learned very well audibly. And one of the great things that I learned over the years was, you know, taking advantage of commentaries, video essays, YouTube talks, and things like that from film scholars and directors. And the same when it comes to music. There are so many ways to learn and expand your understanding of something and grow it nowadays. It wasn't necessarily there when, you know, well, shit, Mick, and when we and I were in elementary school. Good God, you think you could like sit down in 15 minutes, find that much shit?
No way. That was dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's so
Yeah.
much fun. Like, man, the things you'd have to watch, the books you'd have to find. Yeah, it was.
Periodical guide to research. Fuck that shit nowadays.
But tell me it wasn't fun.
It was great.
It was so much fun.
Basements of college libraries filled with old newspapers. That was the shit.
Just anything you could find on anything was just a good time. And it was like, dude, that's why I watched Joe Bob and all those other horror hosts, because they were and Turner Classic Movie, they were gonna have slithers of information that I could get, even in little increments, which is basically all you were gonna get. And then like listen to every DVD commentary, watch the special effects, see the behind the scenes, and you get all the tidbits. It is so much fun. And now one other thing, James, I do want to point this out. I don't know if this is true. You got to find this out through your own therapy, but I did find out during my journey in therapy that I used to be a very avid reader. I also used to be a writer professionally, and I stopped doing these things. And a lot of it was coming down to I was not coping in any way, shape, or form. That my defenses were always up. My instincts were always to keep them up at all times. I couldn't focus on anything, let alone words. Since I started dealing and coping and doing more creative things, I am writing again. I am drawing. I'm doing all those great things, painting. But number one, you know what I'm doing. Fucking, I'm back to it. Like I'm reading all the time. Like I'm always trying to read. And
I never thought that way. I didn't think something like that could be a reason why I don't want to read and everything, because I got my defenses and shit up, and that's what I'm focusing on. And
it's easier to focus on TV because it's just like,
yeah, you're right. It is.
It's a distraction, and that's a coping skill.
Yeah,
but it's not one that you want for longevity.
Yeah,
you want the other coping skills that will help you heal, because you also got to get forgiveness down and things like that, and guilt.
What do you feel of like audios, like audio books and pods and all that stuff, as far as for information and all that?
It's again, but it's
for information. I never did for information. I did it for like
entertainment more so.
I'd rather watch. So at work, it was easy to listen to the audiobook when we started doing that. I listened to Cujo and shit and Dr. Sleep, I think it was. But at home, I couldn't put those sit on the couch and just listen to an audiobook where there's a TV right in front of me.
Yes, I used to be able to, and then I couldn't for the longest time. And since I've been coping and working on things and going to therapy and such, and I found where I can write again. I can do all these things.
Okay.
That's another thing I can do. I can sit down, put on an album, and just sit and relax and listen, or an audiobook or something. I was listening to the Federalist Papers earlier because I just wanted to listen to them, and I've read them when I was younger, but I wanted to listen to them again because I'm not reading them. That there is a boring factor to some things. I mean, so it is nice to listen to, but yeah, like now I find I have that focus to be able to do it while I'm working.
Well, I have to say, Mick, I mean, what you brought up and everything to James is beautiful, but the past 6 years that I've known you, you've been an inspiration because you've shared a lot of stuff with me, and you also understand that, me doing Sturdy's show this many times and this consistency is helped me so much with a lot of things that I still grapple with, insecurities, a lot of which came from a situation like being with Francis. So I want to thank you for that. And
Oh,
you
I
are a
appreciate it.
huge inspiration for me to attempt to continue going further. And yeah, and Sturdy and James, I wouldn't be here and doing this kind of stuff if you didn't encourage me. So
I'm happy as hell you're here,
Glad
man.
you're here.
I'm happy that you take the time to not only watch the movie, but take the time to come on here and talk about the movie and open up to not only us, but the people watching, because I'm sure it helps some people that are watching that are going through some of the things that we're all going through. And it's just like, and hearing it from men is a big thing. And hear from men of different
True.
backgrounds, different races, and all that other stuff is a big thing because
oh yeah.
we're opening up a little bit on a horror podcast, which is dope. Like it's a fun way to kind of share some fun stuff. It's share some stuff about yourself, open up, and help others, as well as, of course, talk about the fun stuff with the horror. And you know, it's a cool journey. And this movie,
I would like to say too, and you know, and talking, three points, and I'll shut the fuck up. But in fairness, I shut the fuck up in the beginning because I really didn't know what to say. I just finished the movie. One, Sturdy was 100% right about Trevor, and I didn't mean to cut that off or say that wasn't true. I was just saying I was trying to more encourage Sturdy, but whatever, Sturdy.
no, I researched. I just don't enjoy it like he does. That's all I'm saying.
Oh no, I know, and it's fine. Two, James. We were talking about like, you know, Lucas when he gets bit and like how that's violence always begets the young. And then we talked about Joshua and what he might turn into. And I'm sure you know this, but I want to say it out for anybody who may be watching and listening. Violence will get that child, that abused child. I just got to a point where I was like, okay, I've gotten into fights when I was younger, and like got into those rumbles and things like that. And it wasn't, it was dumb and it was violent. And that's how I gets dealt with things. I'm not encouraging that or saying that was the right way. Go get help mentally. I just thankfully never carried it into my marriage or into being a parent, which was always a promise I made to myself anyway. So I'm glad that never happened. But like, go get the help you need. That's
I think I said on that pod before, or Popcorn and Points, that's what's crazy about it. That's one thing I didn't pull from my past. When my father was abusive at the time, I tried to stay away from it myself. Like I didn't want to become him type situation. So I stopped partying like crazy because I didn't want to become like alcoholic. That's most of my family. So I have alcohol here and there. But then my marriage, or anyone I dated or was seeing at the time, I never, even if I got mad, I never called them a name. Not bitch.
That's good.
Jerk,
that's good.
nothing.
That's very good. Respect for women. That was always a big
it.
thing for me too. Yeah, listen, it is.
Don't get me wrong. My wife will call me an ass sometimes.
I do want to point out one other thing about Joshua too, because in this, he sort of becomes the role of a stepchild, and I want to point this out as a stepfather. And it is very important to me to spread this awareness. The number one indicator that there's abuse in a household is there's a step parent. And there's got, in seeing this today and seeing like how that was, Joshua became immediately almost like a stepchild in that instance, and like how he was being treated. I do want to shine a light on that because it was always so important to me, especially coming into this. Like, I'd never want to step on toes of his father. That's his father. I always want to respect his stepmother because that's his stepmother, like their family unit. No matter what we all think or feel about each other, we are the family unit for him. And stepping into that, it was always important to me because I was like, you just like, I want to at least be that step role, that parent who's going to come in and be there whenever he needs me. Because I do realize that indicator. So, and I want to push that to anybody who may be ever taking on step roles or step parents. It is so important that you treat that child with love, respect, and in no way, shape, or form different.
Oh,
because they may not be your blood. You would, and to drive the point home, would you treat your best friend who's not blood that way? Then don't treat your stepchildren that way.
Damn right.
Yeah.
No.
That's a good way to put it, actually. That's a pretty good way to put it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say two things about one when the one kid gets bitten, when the younger kid gets bitten. What I liked about the scene where the mother's cutting the arm off is it wasn't like a lot of movies where it's just one easy, simple cut. It was multiple cuts, so it was more so, of course, the kid going through the physical pain, the mother going through the emotional pain of seeing, and then the mother going through the traumatic pain, the emotional, like all the stuff she's going through, especially even more so the blood splashing back on her face as she's cutting her child's arm off to save his life, which sounds wild, but that's what she's doing.
Yeah, and you know that too. That's where like that correlation. I think James, you made it like Walking Dead, where like it had that dismal feel, but like, but there was that kernel of optimism there too.
And the other scene where it makes me think, look at the flowers. But speaking of Walking Dead, that was a scene right there. That was a scene.
Look at the flowers. Oh my god!
I never finished that series, and I probably never will because I fell out of love with it.
I never finished it either.
That was probably one of the best scenes. I mean, of course, the whole Glenn scene was probably better, but that was one of those scenes that really stood out, though. That really, like, you say that, and some people might start crying, looking around the room and stuff, and doing that deep
That's why Walking Dead was really good.
I had to stop
it. First 3 seasons.
I would like walk around or something, like wherever I was going, just random, and there would be flowers around. And I would just be like, "Look at the flowers, Lily," and I would always just say it jokingly. That my son started saying it, like he was like doing a puzzle, and he was like, "Look at the flowers, Lily," and I'm like, "No, I got to stop that. I can't do it anymore." I was like, you never realize like what your ears are listening to. I do. Can I tell a funny story I wanted to share for you, with you anyway? So we're gonna get ready to watch movies on Disney with my youngest, and we're flipping through, just like, okay, we all want to watch this. We don't want to just watch something like really juvenile. How about this? Nah. That's all he's doing. We get to Cool Runnings. He goes, and I'm like, you're insane. We're watching it. Cool Runnings is amazing. And let me tell you, he was so intently watching this movie that when they qualified, he goes, yes. I was like, yes. I was like, that's what Cool Runnings does. So go out and watch Cool Runnings today. It's amazing.
That's funny you mentioned that. I don't know if you were on before. I was talking to them about Nosferatu, and I know we have some interesting back and forth on that movie, which will hold. But I saw that movie with my daughter, and my daughter left that film for the last week. She's been obsessed with Nosferatu. She's already a metalhead. I think I got to experience one of my children's gateway into horror.
That is
pretty
amazing.
Freaking awesome.
So I do have different thoughts though, because I watched it a second time. I needed to. So like it has I still hate that mustache. I'll leave it at that.
That was a strange decision, but I was.
He looked like
Stash rides with Nosferatu.
He looks like Freddie Mercury played Kurgan in Highlander.
Oh shit!
Holy shit!
I swear to God, that's what he looked like to me. I like the movie, and and Bill Skarsgård's a good actor, so like there are great interactions and such. The only thing acting wise, the only thing I would like kind of maybe say is like Lily Rose Depp. She was clearly out of her weight class in terms of all the actors she was surrounded by, but she did a good job. Like she was, she did like I just like didn't think she was quite ready for this. And as I'm watching, I'm like, I wish like an Emma Stone or somebody was in something like this, who has that gravitas that can really sell where we're at with this, So that's just me. But other than that, great. Eggers.
I have to check it out. I have to check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I want to watch that and the werewolves movie.
I seen that.
That's a fun one.
Yeah, interesting take on that one. How they become werewolves. I was explaining to them
I saw it too. It's
Yeah.
interesting. I do like it. I had a buddy. I don't want to tell the story because it was his story idea, and I don't know if he ever did anything with it. But it was a cool werewolf idea that was in the same vein of what they did in this movie in terms of like how they change. But it wasn't like a yearly purge thing. It was much different approach.
Gotcha.
I'm real interested in seeing this. This
Yeah, that's
sounds
what I'm
like
crazy.
something
It's like they mixed it with the
fun.
purge. It's kind of crazy.
Oh, that's
Werewolves look cool too.
Yeah, they were cool looking. Yeah.
Let's dive into the ratings really quick.
Oh,
gentlemen.
yeah,
Oh, shit, we didn't even do the ratings for this movie.
No,
We're talking about like 4 other movies.
But James, you want to kick it off for us, good sir?
Go with I enjoyed it. What like we talked, it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be, but it was good. Everything about it. I like the acting, the cinematography, everything about this movie. So I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
7.5. Okay. Trevor, how about you, good sir?
Well, I never thought I'd live to see something that was a mixture of Ingmar Bergman's Scenes from a Marriage, maybe a Cassavetes film or two, and Day of the Dead. And I give it a 9.5.
Nice.
Nice. Mick, how about
do
you?
you want me to go or you? Yeah.
Oh yeah. You go ahead.
I like listen, honestly, we were talking about Nosferatu, and the reason I bring that up is because I've heard a lot of correlations on the symbolism and allegory it plays to abuse. And I will say this, yes, we have lots of those types of movies that really do heavy-handedly may put into their movies and their stories things about abuse, which I'm not knocking, right? This movie is one I feel like if you're a horror fan or you've experienced trauma, you should definitely see it. This is a smack in the face that I think a lot of people sometimes need to see.
Well, I think it uses the horror genre to be that smack in the face.
Yeah.
Because it is such an intense movie and it does drive things home, where if it was a family drama, it would have seemed like too much. But within a world that is out of control and the extreme concept of zombies, it actually fit. So you take the confines of the genre and you put something really frightening at the center, and
What'd you say your rating was, Mick? I'm sorry.
9.
Okay, nice. I'm gonna give this an 8.5. I think this was an excellent movie. I would have enjoyed it more if there was more of a tragedy earlier in the film. If one of the parents or one of the killed, like if say if the kid got his arm bitten earlier in the movie, or did something. So it was more of a fear of something happening. You know what I mean? Or more of if he's gonna turn or not.
No.
But overall, I thought it was a really good film and just a great film to kick off 2025 as far as movie wise, not story, what happened in the story, but as far as being a good overall movie, this was a really good movie overall, and I recommend it. I recommend it. This was a good watch.
2024 had a lot of really awesome things in the arts, films, and music. So, hopefully that continues into 2025. And let's be honest, right now in the world of art of any form, there should be a movement, and there should be a movement that has been growing for years that should show a peak of artistic greatness based on politics and things of that nature. We haven't seen it for a while. It's slowly building. Hopefully, this is an example of people making massive statements and, putting things that they believe out there on the line and to be interpreted as the viewer decides to interpret them.
What was funny about this movie for me is when I first seen this, and I know I said it in the group chat, and I was like, guys, this movie's like 2.5 hours. I was like, my bad. And I'm thinking to myself, like, shit, this is a fucking zombie movie that's 2.5 hours. And when I'm watching it, it didn't to me, it didn't feel that long. And I understand why it was that long because of the story and everything went with it. it worked for this movie. It doesn't work for every movie, but it worked for this movie, in my opinion. As far as how the length for it went.
I agree. How'd your wife like it?
She enjoyed it. She enjoyed it because it was different. It was a different type of zombie film. I mean, it wasn't really about the zombies, and I like how you see who the real monster is when it's really the humans versus the monster. When it shows like reflects who the real monster. It's always a human at the end of the day. It's always the human, and it's just like holy shit. We're some scary motherfuckers, man. Like, think about it. Think about it. Like just this movie alone, what kicks it off? What went through in this movie alone? I'm just like,
what jealousy, trauma, greed, all that shit can do to a human.
Revenge,
yeah.
And how horrible we can treat the ones that we love.
That too.
Yep.
And you think you're doing it out of love, like tough love, but it's not.
I don't even think it's a tough love. I think it's an insecurity. I think it all.
Oh, that too. Yeah,
tough love was code for years and years and years ago for abusive situations.
That was the previous generation's inner child saying, "Tighten the grip, that you're going to lose them," and like even if you have to try and make them submit to your will, and that's never a good thing. So, I help that inner child by saying, "I love you and I'll take care of you."
Yes, and go 49ers. Or
Respect
get out of my house.
Yep. Well, I do respect you and I love you, Sturdy, but
I appreciate that. I respect and I love you guys too. Even James.
Well, thank you.
But this was definitely a fun episode, and a very good conversation. We had some nice conversations on here, not just about the movie, but life in general, which was brought out by this movie. I don't think that's going to happen with next week's movie, judging by the title and the movie cover. But I could be wrong.
Don't judge it. Don't judge movies.
I could be wrong.
I mean, a lot of films have direct connections to my life, so you never know. Some are weird.
Yeah. I am intrigued to watch it. I can't wait to watch it.
It's a Tubi original. Oh shit.
Yes. Hey, listen. Don't judge Tubi. Tubi's
good. I like Tubi.
By the way, don't worry, people. Especially you, Shake, if you're watching. If not, I'm saying it anyway. I'll be getting back to Bad Girls Club hopefully this week. Do not worry. Episode 2. I'm back on my shit. Season 17.
You just gave me trauma just saying that.
Listen, James.
That show sucks.
You got to just sit back and watch it.
I can't.
You got to enjoy the craziness.
I don't like when there's constant arguing and fighting. I'm like, that's why I didn't like Real World.
Twerking. Sometimes they're not arguing and fighting. Sometimes they're twerking and they fist fight, James. You don't want
I'm
to
going to bed if we're talking about reality TV because I think that was what led to the downfall of everything we're seeing.
Yeah,
I agree. I totally agree.
100%.
Too much reality kicked in, and it wasn't actual reality. That's the best part.
Yeah, scripted reality.
Fuck you, cops, and fuck you, Puck.
Everybody wanted to now be famous. Reality stars can be famous. Everybody wanted to do this. Then it was influencers. Then it was this. And now we don't have fucking scientists.
And, we should have all learned when it was back in the 80s when professional wrestling was, well, that's all bullshit, that reality TV is all bullshit, too.
Yep, nobody
gives.
Exactly. But great episode. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for episode.
Thank you for joining for therapy talk. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Happy anniversary, Sturdy.
Yeah, happy anniversary.
Appreciate it. That's what you get in 7 years. And really quick, what's funny is my very first episode was called Zombie Boners, and it was with my brother Henry.
Oh, look at that.
And we're kicking it off this year talking about zombies. I'm assuming we were talking about zombies in that, but
you went with literally the most ridiculous zombie movie you could in your first episode ever. To literally, you've evolved to talking about mental health for almost an hour and a half because of a zombie movie. That's 7 years.
Pretty awesome.
You go.
Listen, people, you want growth? Start with episode of Horror Search 30. Episode 532. That's a lot of growth. That's a lot of experience. That's a lot of maturity. It's a lot of nonsense and bullshit too. I'm not gonna lie to you, but a lot of growth, a lot of a lot of laughter, a lot of time. Tune in every week, 8 o'clock Eastern time, Thursdays live. Just saying, audios will drop. I'm gonna try to start getting them out the day after. I'm gonna try, but listen, go check out everybody's stuff on here. Go check out the Scene Snobs and making the Scene Snobs, which I will be making an appearance about once a month over there. So
Awesome.
definitely go hop on over there. Ambassador Radio. I know Trevor's on a hiatus, but he's gonna come back and he's gonna come back strong. So be on the lookout for that. Of course, James over there with Popcorn and Pints. We'll be back on the 11th with some Bond. James Bond, that is. James Bond Jr.
Yeah.
We are doing
We're gonna
those
do the
franchises.
whole-
Yes. So Trevor, if you're available Saturdays,
All of
9 o'clock Eastern time, we're doing the whole franchise. We're doing 2 movies at a time, and we're doing them in chronological. So like the orders that they came out, doing 2 at a time every Saturday starting the 11th. If you want to join us, you're more than welcome to, my friend.
I might, if you want to go real deep into some James Bond, I might hook you up with a friend of mine.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Oh,
that'd be nice.
Mr. John Arminio is everything about James Bond, including the novels. He is like obsessed. He's appeared on the Pink Smoke and stuff like that, talking about it.
That's awesome.
He's my Bond guy. So
that's awesome. See, listen,
yeah.
You see this? He has a Bond guy. I don't even have that.
Well, he's a guy for a lot of things. So,
see, this is why I say everybody needs a Trevor. It's like a utility knife. Just has boom, everything. Crazy movie, Bond guy.
I have a Doctor Who family.
See?
My wife's aunt, uncle, and his daughter. Their
Tom
daughter
Baker
loves Doctor Who
Nice. You see this?
and Star Trek, of course. They're Trekkies too.
Yeah.
Appreciate you,
But
guys.
Mick is the main Trek.
Appreciate you guys.
And Doctor Who. I have the TARDIS tattooed on my arm.
Yep.
Oh,
Nice.
nice. I didn't know you had knowledge on Doctor Who.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know.
I used to
But
watch
you never-
Classic Who too, and I went back and revisited a ton of them.
Oh, you never. So every time we go there for Christmas Eve and everything, like I watched since I met my wife every Christmas special.
Oh yeah.
That comes out every year.
My wedding was Doctor Who themed.
Oh wow.
That's
And
awesome.
it had nothing to do with me. My
Oh.
wife loves it, so she wanted to have a Doctor Who theme on it.
Oh, cool.
That's
So
awesome.
we both had geeky marriage things because I was married on the bridge of the USS Enterprise.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Geek
That's awesome.
power.
Wow.
I love it. That is amazing.
And I thought my wife's but Lego was crazy. We had a Lego cake.
That's
It was
awesome.
That's
edible.
awesome.
They made the pieces. Yeah, my her brother made the cake,
That's
and
dope.
That's really cool.
he made it look like it was collapsing with Legos,
Uh-huh.
and each piece was made like candy. You can eat it. He molded the Lego
awesome.
pieces of chocolate.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was pretty
Very
cool.
cool.
Phenomenal.
I might have a picture somewhere. I'll show it to you guys.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because I believe we took a picture of it beforehand and after, like during
Yeah.
the wedding. I think we had.
That's awesome.
too. Yeah, it's pretty
That's
cool.
awesome. But damn, what an episode. Yeah, one for talking about zombie boners to
Yeah.
mental health in 70. That's growth.
And
More ways
don't
than
get it
one.
wrong. We'll probably end up talking about zombie boners again
of
at some
course.
point.
Probably next week.
Because we're, the immaturity will come out.
All it takes is
But I do want to point out its counterpart, zombievers. So, you want to
Yep,
compare and
zombie
contrast
beavers, seen
the
it.
boners and the beavers.
boners and beavers.
Yep, I've seen it. I've seen zombievers.
Oh man, I can't wait. I can already tell this is gonna be a fun ass year of content podcasting, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Oh, and I did it, guys. I went a full episode without saying something crazy.
All right,
Boom.
let's end it.
2025.
End it now. I have to go to the bathroom, and that's
Yeah.
a threat. That's a
Kicking
threat.
off 2025 right is what we're doing.
I'm trying to be a good boy
He's
this
being
year.
good. He's being a better man this year. We're out of here though. Appreciate you all. Happy 7 years to Sturdy. I gotta say it.
Happy
I know it's
7.
third person, whatever. But this is a fun journey, and it's gonna continue. I'll see you in your night.